I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, it's Saturday, so some time for one of my mental mindset, investing, the attitude, the positive can-do attitude you have to have if you want any success in life. These are the ones I enjoy doing the most. These pep talks, the positive affirmation that I seek out all the time in the people that I follow on Twitter and some of the blogs, some of the books I read, autobiographies. I like getting peppered with this stuff and keep my motivation up all the time. So I've done many blogs over the years, and I almost, here we are, we're late into the spring here, 2021, and the endless complaining and whining that is out there, it just boggles my mind how many people just is that feel sorry for myself attitude that you do not want anything to do with. Life isn't fair. It's tough. If you're looking to buy a house in a city as great as Vancouver, it's not going to be easy, but it can be done, as I've done many blogs on before. But you're going to have to work. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to rise above the average guy here. If you want to be average, you can go to very good cities. A Winnipeg or an Edmonton or a Regina. Those are fine cities that are much more aligned to what the average wage earner earns. In Vancouver, Southern California, LA, San Diego, Seattle, New York City, Washington, Boston, London, I could rattle off 50 cities here. They are not for the weak. You're going to have to work, rise above to make it happen, and it can be done. But it never amazes me, it's just the endless churn of negativity that's out there. And this is what trips so many people up. And it's really what I've talked about before too. It's an echo chamber. You have these groups of complainers that do the blogs and they're endlessly on Twitter complaining about things. And they've got their core group of followers. But their core group of followers are all aligned with this complain, the misery loves company. Everybody is conspiring against us so that I can't buy a house. It's the government. They need to cool housing so I can buy a house. It's the realtors. It's those multiple offers that are driving up the prices. It's the interest rates. It's the foreign buyers. It's the speculators. It's the empty homes. It's non-stop. And this is never going to change. There's never going to be a perfect world here where everything is aligned for you to buy a house. What I've been stressing and pounding home and talk about it at length in my book is you've got to change your attitude. You've got to change it from negative and pessimistic to positive and can do. It's the only way to go through life. And the sooner you pick that up, the better off you'll be. But of course, a lot of these people get wrapped up into this rabbit hole they fall into. This dark hole echo chamber, and it just perpetuates your problems. You just waste month after month, and that turns into year after year. Time is money. So you got to get away from that. And I know I pound this home, but this is just want to keep you guys on the right track here, and you can recognize some of this stuff. Focus on the long term, as I've often said here. Markets go up and down. The current Vancouver real estate market is going to take a breather here pretty soon. Maybe later this year, next year. I don't know. It could go on for a few more years, but eventually what happens, like it always does, I've been through so many of these in the last 35 years. Eventually the market gets fatigued. Buyer fatigue sets in. The good weather starts coming out. Inventory starts to slowly creep up. Maybe they bump interest rates. But eventually buyers get fatigued. Inventory goes up. The prices level off. Then maybe come down 5 or 10%. Then maybe stay flat for a while. Catch its breath for the next leg up. But as I've often said, the only thing you should really be focused on if you're buying your principal residence, it's a long-term need. Hold it for 8 to 10 years, preferably longer, and you're going to do fantastic. That's all you need to remember, and tune out the negative stuff. Okay, I want to give you guys an example here of what you do not want to be like. And if you see this kind of stuff, just do a 180 and get out of there. Get out of there. I don't want to push this guy under the bus. I feel sorry for these people. I really do. I know it's tough for young people to make it a go here, especially with COVID. But again, buy some books. Start learning. Surround yourself with positive people. It's never too late to turn a leaf here. But you've got to do the mirror test. You have to. Nothing has changed. When I was starting out 30 years ago, the same stuff was out there. Everyone said real estate was overpriced then. The stock market's rigged. There's no hope for young people. That's what they were telling me 20, 25 years ago. It's bullshit. Don't believe it. People are making it and rising above every day. I'm working with young clients all the time that are way ahead of where I was at their age. But last week, the budget came out, a few weeks ago. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this. And a lot of people were disappointed that the government didn't do something to curb the hot housing markets in Toronto and Vancouver. I don't know what they wanted the government to do that they already haven't done. As I've said before, they've really thrown everything but the kitchen sink here. The endless stress tests, I've lost count of how much mortgage tightening they've done. The empty home in Vancouver here, the empty homes tax, the foreign buyers tax, just the PTT alone is a restriction enough. So I'm not sure what people really wanted the government else to do. There's not much left here. And again, as I've often said here, the government is not your friend. They're not here to help you buy a house. I know you think they are, but if you want to buy a house and retire early or build any type of net worth, you're going to have to do it on your own. Don't rely on the government for anything. Pay your taxes, renew your driver's license and passport, and try and distance yourself as much as you can from any rubbing shoulders with the government. But here is an actual Twitter comment here. I'm going to read this to you guys verbatim here about an article that was posted on Twitter that, hey, the government, other than putting in a 1% foreign buyers tax Canada-wide, well, we've already got a 20% tax here, 1%. But other than that, people were very disappointed. The government, I don't know, didn't send everybody a $500,000 check. I don't know what they wanted, really, the government to help them buy a house. But of course, everyone was up in arms that they didn't come and help us and coddle us here. This is an actual Twitter comment here that I think kind of sums it up here, and there was a whole bunch of these. Listen to this here. This is what a guy commented on here about the government not stepping in here. This is so depressing. I really had hope that they would do something. I feel so crushed. Have no motivation today to do much of anything. They really just abandoned first-time home buyers and solidified how screwed we are. Okay, so listen, I can understand the frustration with this guy, but it sounds like, yeah, he's given up all hope and he's relying on the government to come and help him in any way. So if this was someone that I knew, he wouldn't be a friend of mine because none of my friends think like this. I don't know, I'm wired a little differently. I grew up with if you want anything done, you got to do it yourself. You got to work. You have to have the work ethic. Put in the time, put in the discipline, and just move forward. That's how I grew up with my parents and my friends and mentors I've had. Most of the clients I'm working with were all the same. But I know there's another half out there that I guess, think somehow that the government owes them something. And they don't. Do not think like this. You do not want to be like this guy. I understand his frustration, I do. I feel for him, but he needs to take control of his own actions here. You have all kinds of opportunity as a Canadian. We're in one of the greatest countries in the world where the sky is the limit. You can work, get a side hustle, go to school, work your way up the income ladder. People would give their left arm to become Canadians or US citizens with the opportunities we've got. Don't ever underestimate it. The opportunities are there. The other thing I'll point out here with this comment, it's that echo chamber. You should have seen, this guy had 300 or 400 likes. He had about another 40 or 50 comments completely agreeing. I know, I'm depressed, I'm crushed at this, I'm gutted that the government didn't do something, I want to buy a house, don't have the down payment, haven't been pre-qualified, I'm probably not even really saving the money for the down payment, but hey, I really thought it was going to be different this time and the Liberals were going to step in and send me a check so I could buy a house. Life's not going to work that way. It was just hundreds and hundreds of comments agreeing with this guy. And I tell you, you'll never see anyone step in. Every now and again you do, or a guy will come in and say, hey guys, really you should maybe take control of your own actions. Did you really think the government was going to step in? I just bought a house last year. I saved 5 years for it, got qualified, made the sacrifices. Watch out. Yikes. You're going to get completely crushed in there by this echo chamber of negativity. It's nuts. So instead, the misery loves company just makes it worse for this guy, because he starts to think, you see, I'm not the only one. And yeah, I have a right to be depressed here about this, when you don't. You're just getting perpetuated by a whole bunch of people that are in the same boat as you, that haven't taken it upon themselves to work for this. So I feel for this guy. I don't want to throw him under the bus here too much, but my God, I feel crushed. I have no motivation today to do much of anything. You sit on the couch and, I don't know, smoke some marijuana, watch some Netflix. That'll solve your problems. So all I'm saying here is, don't be like this. This is never going to change. The government's never going to help you buy a house. It's never going to be any easier, because I can tell you 30 years ago when I started out buying real estate, it was the same thing. And I was paying back then 16% interest rates. Everyone talks about how, you could buy a condo for $85,000. Yeah, you're right. My first condo was $62,000 I bought, but I was paying 16% interest on it. For every $1,000 mortgage payment, I was chipping off a whopping $60 or $70 off the principal. Do the math now on 1.6% rates. So again, I pounded it home here. You got to do the mirror test. We're living in one of the greatest countries in the world. Every opportunity, the sky is the limit. You can, rise above is not that hard, especially when you got, a lot of people like this that are just sitting at home feeling sorry for themselves and no motivation because the government didn't send them a check to help them buy a house. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.